Album Concept Hour. The Album Concept Hour. It's the Album Concept Hour.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Album Concept Hour. My name is Brad LeBaron. I am your host, as always. And with me today, we have our first co-host. You've heard him many times about many albums of many genres. This is John, Virtual John. What's going on, John?
Virtual John is checking in as always, ladies and gentlemen, here to rant about some good old-fashioned yeehaw country.
Yeehaw! Honky! And did I use that right?
Tonkin',
Honky
Brad.
tonky. Sorry, I forgot the second half. Yeah, and he's just gotten his first COVID shot, guys. He's one of the select few. You know, he's.
I do, yes.
Yeah, man. I'm jealous,
in an
man.
assisted living home, people.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to take care of old people.
Yeah.
Please don't hate me. I'm sorry.
No,
That's
it's
why.
totally legit that any healthcare worker gets it first. It's cool as hell. But like, yeah, I don't know too many people that are at the front of the line like that, man. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, I got 3 weeks, and then I get my next one.
Yeah, but
just a little pain at the injection site, as said. Otherwise,
yeah.
I'm liking my first 12 hours of it, and I'm everything's cool so far.
Yeah.
So.
But I should probably introduce our other co-host.
I'll keep people
And
updated.
we have Jake the Snake on the lake. So many J's. Jake the Snake is back again, co-hosting with us.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row for the first time ever. Twice in a row. Instead of just having you on our part twos.
Yeah, I had a little streak there.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll have to leave you off of a part one in the near future just so you can come in a part two.
Sure.
Do some tricky shit.
Yeah. We're doing Jake's first pick, official pick for the Album Concept Hour as a co-host, and that is Wanted, the Outlaws. And it's a real fun one. Who all do we have in this album, guys?
So this ended up being the first platinum record in country music.
Oh yes, that is
which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of all the people that Brad was talking about. So,
yes.
Willie Nelson,
Big names.
Waylon Jennings, Jessi, Colter, and Tompall. I say it's Glaser, but I don't know. Do you guys want to commit on Glaser, or are you going with Glaser?
I'll say you're right, but I probably will flip flop on this.
This is your album, Jason.
I know, so I should know. I know.
No, we'll just submit to your thing, and if Brad ever comes across something,
or the listeners, as a teacher, I was when I was doing student teaching. If the students come back and they're like, actually, you were wrong about this, that just means that they were listening.
Exactly.
So if they come back,
so students out there,
the only thing I'm wrong about on this whole thing is the pronunciation of the name. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, it's just a pronunciation of this guy's last name. It's not the end of the world. And I don't even know what he's up to these days. Apparently not giving Spotify his music.
Well, he's dead.
Okay. Well, apparently his family or whoever's in control of that is not allowing Spotify to listen.
Yeah, or Apple Music.
Yeah, which is fine. That's a very, I think Prince would approve probably of his choices. And is that the whole cast? Did we get through the whole cast of characters? On the front cover, at least, there's a lot of people involved. In the different roles in the background.
Those are the four that have. It's the wanted poster with the Outlaws, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Jessi, Colter, and Tompall Glaser, and it says reward, and then it's got everybody's supposed mugshot or like picture.
Yeah, you should really check out the cover of this one. It's a really like fun like way they threw back it did a throwback and like apparently looked at actual wanted posters, and they made them not look like pretty and polished. They kind of look like a little rough and tumble. And this is a compilation album, actually.
I think it's our first.
I think it's our first.
Well, I guess. What's a movie soundtrack?
I was about to say that, like I said earlier, yeah, soundtracks are kind of compilations by default, but this is a compilation album of that's just stands alone as just a country compilation.
These are hand-picked songs that are supposed to represent like a movement that really revolutionized country music in this genre in the mid 70s.
It set it on fire, Jake.
Well, yeah, apparently, apparently Willie Nelson didn't necessarily love the term outlaw country at first, since like he was trying to, he already had that reputation at large in the country for being who he was. But I think he eventually grew to accept it and the kind of like reverence that people had for it.
There's actually a song that was, and I can't remember. We could look this up, but it was like I think this outlaw bit has gotten a little out of hand. Like that's the premise of the song. So they definitely they were like, okay, whatever, but
yeah,
they definitely knew what was going on.
I would also like to make a comment that this is definitely part of like the stepping stones that led to like the Highwayman at the end of the 80s.
Yeah, actually,
this is definitely like part of that whole thing that just kind of like encapsulated in that.
Yeah,
this was an important part of that movement. I mean, it's got two of the members, for God's sakes.
Yeah. I'm glad that we are doing this before we get into the Highwaymen now, because you will actually have the context for that when we get there. But
when we do that on accident too, by the way.
Yeah, no, because sometimes we find like an album like later that influenced an album that we already covered, and it's like, oh man, I kind of wish I heard this before I heard that one. Like. Sometimes it does make a difference, but yeah, this one is it's 11 tracks. It's like a pretty standard album size. What were you gonna say, Jake?
I wish. I guess we're hopefully issues with internet aren't going on. We had a little bit of. Am I coming?
Oh, you're coming through. You're coming through.
All right.
There's probably like a delay, of course, like a little.
Yeah.
But
well, you were coming a little. It doesn't matter. So the song was actually like the literal title that I was alluding to was, "Don't you think this outlaw bit's done got out of hand?" So I was pretty close.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So they knew exactly what was going on. But I mean, these whole like this outlaw country bit, they didn't really they didn't want it to like be called it, but they definitely embraced it.
It was almost like a tongue-in-cheek thing, I think, because of I guess the story leading up to this album, because that's part of like, this is one of those albums where it's not, technically a concept. It's kind of a concept album, but like it's like a lot of different concept songs that are kind of being brought together.
Yeah. And the theme and the concept of outlaw country and the like embracing what RCA ultimately like put Willie Nelson out, and Nashville kicked him out. I mean, we could start talking about this stuff.
I was about to say, like, do you want to get into the story behind kind of how this came about?
About our individuals? Sure. So Willie Nelson was rejected by Nashville. He was a songwriter for a lot of years. Like he had around in the late 50s, he had been a songwriter in Nashville, and he actually wrote a lot of songs, and he sold the rights to those songs for other artists that would record them in Nashville. Hello Walls.
Hello.
Yeah, that one.
How to talk to you today.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah. Right. And so songs like that he sold ended up being big hits, but he didn't get the proceeds from them because he had, sold them to other artists.
Companies took so much money back then.
Well, I mean, they would take advantage of like artists that they deemed smaller or not, like, not for the spotlight, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's not the same thing, but I watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix, I think. And Ma Rainey, African American artist. It was actually Chadwick Boseman's last role. Since after he died, he played a trumpet player, and he had written these songs.
Black Panther Forever.
Oh, that's right.
And
Wakanda Forever.
This guy had written all these songs, and obviously African American. He brought him to the record producer, and the record producer was like, "I can take these off your hands. I'll pay you $5 per song." And he's like, "I don't want $5." The Chadwick Boseman's character was like, "I don't want $5. I want to record these, and I can make them a hit. I know I can." And he ended up taking the songs. The producer did.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman's character didn't. I'm not going to spoil the movie.
Yeah.
But they ended up getting taken and recorded by these white artists, and like really, popped up. And essentially the same thing happened with Willie Nelson songs.
Yeah. Man, that is that's the way that it used to go back then in the music industry. That's why the music industry toppled in the late 90s, early 2000s, essentially, because they are a heartless machine.
Another one before we move on from Willie Nelson, I guess, or further part of Willie Nelson's career.
Yeah.
He wrote Crazy, which was performed by Patsy Cline. Originally the name was supposed to be Stupid.
Okay.
And he changed the name, or they changed the name to Crazy. That just If you hear
it came off a little better,
Yeah, I mean, if you hear Willie Nelson sing it sounds a little bit better, but I agree. I think they made the right choice.
Okay. I'm not, and I can't think of the song. Go on. Country is probably the genre that I have the least amount of.
I'm crazy,
knowledge
crazy for feeling
so lonely.
I've definitely heard "So Lonely" before, but I'm not sure in this context.
I'm crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for love.
That sounds like some
every time
Sinatra
you said "crazy," just put it "stupid" in there.
Okay.
That's how the song is.
Stupid for loving. Why is everything dinging now? I thought I muted you.
Ding, ding, ding.
So there was a lot of songs that were taken, and Willie Nelson, he got, he moved to Nashville in 1960. He was unable to find a label to sign him. He spent time at Tootsie's Orchid Lounge. I actually visited there in Nashville. You still can when hopefully the pandemic, ends, and they still have artists that come in and perform there.
If they're not shut down from
right.
Yeah. Support your local music, guys.
Right. By 1969, he kind of fell out of favor with RCA.
Nice. What?
And was trying to produce concept albums.
Yeah.
And RCA wasn't for that.
Yeah. He was trying because they had like the kind of machine where they would, create the, pop hits that were only, 3 or 4 minutes long.
Yeah. I mean, if anything's over 3 minutes, a lot of that stuff wasn't getting played even.
Yeah.
RCA Studio B in Nashville, like the artist would come in, you'd be in separate areas for your band, from your band, and you come in and, artists one after the other, you'd come in and they'd have the same backing group. And that was a sign of the times then. But Willie Nelson wanted more creative control. And this, at the same time, he his first or maybe his second wife divorced him, and he came home from a Christmas party and his house was burning down.
That's right. Yes, this was a hard time for Willie Nelson. Yes.
So he saved a pound of marijuana and his guitar trigger.
Yes. Which is the right move, I think.
That all makes sense.
My 2 cents.
It is Willie Nelson.
So he took those two things and he went home to Austin, Texas.
This is such a waste.
Yeah. And apparently he stopped playing music, right?
Yeah, he said he'd given up on he wanted out of his contract, and and he said, I'm done. And and we're actually, one of the songs off of this album is off of one of his last concept albums for RCA. So
see, now we're gonna have to do a Willie Nelson concept album as well, probably.
Oh yeah. There's a couple on the docket.
Yeah.
But it also has we have Waylon Jennings as well, comes into the picture after Willie Nelson's out of the picture in RCA, right?
Yeah. So Waylon Jennings, part of the story, he started out at the age of 8 playing guitar. He was DJing at a radio station at the age of 12. He was fired for playing 2 Little Richard songs in a row. He was playing Little Richard and Chuck Berry because he liked their music. He was supposed to be playing classic country. And then he ended up playing those, and that's what got him fired.
Yeah, that's a wild swing from classic country, especially back then when classic country would have been Hank Williams Sr.
Right.
Slide guitar and.
Yeah.
So back in Lubbock, Texas, is the home of Buddy Holly also. Buddy Holly took him under his wing, and he said Buddy Holly had just broken up with his band.
I remember this part of the story.
And he said,
sad.
I need a bass player, so I'm going to give you 2 weeks, and you have to memorize, learn how to play the bass guitar. So Waylon said, okay. And he said he memorized how to play it, and he went on tour with Buddy Holly, and this was 1957, 1958. Something happened in February of 1958. That was the day the music died. So Buddy Holly was killed in a plane crash. That plane was supposed to take Waylon Jennings and Buddy Holly and one other guy from place to place.
The Big Bopper, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, never mind.
No, it was J.P. Richardson, the Big Bopper. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Richie Valens. So those.
Yeah.
The Big Bopper took Waylon's seat, and then Richie Valens got on that same plane. They did a
dice game before they all got on the plane. I thought that was the story. Anyways.
Well, he died. So Buddy Holly died, and and ended up.
That was the day the music died.
Right, and then American Pie was written, by Don McLean. So Waylon Jennings almost left music, and then he ended up forming a band, and and eventually made his way to Nashville and kind of went through the same thing that Willie Nelson had went through and couldn't find. He wanted more creative control, and he had some hits. He was really like clean shaven. If you see pictures of him, it doesn't even look like him from what at least I, thought he looked like. So
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he wrestled his way into taking control, and it was the mid 70s.
Yeah.
And then he worked his way to make this album, and handpick the songs.
So this was Waylon's like brainchild mostly. This compilation.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because he's married to Jessi Colter. Yeah.
Right. So Jessi Colter was married to Dwayne Eddy, who was a guitar player from Arizona, I think. So and played like a lot of surf rock.
Okay.
Rebel Rouser was a song. Was that one, at least that I know it from, was from the Forrest Gump soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it's a total instrumental song. He played guitar. He's a really good guitar player. But him and Jessi Colter were married. They stayed together until about 1968. She met Waylon Jennings in 1969 and married him. And then he produced a lot of her work, and they stayed together. And after this album, Shooter Jennings is their son. So, and he's still around and good artist today. So,
Okay.
Jessi Colter's name comes from one of Jesse James, the Outlaws' accomplices. Jessi Colter was one of their names. So that's that's Jessi Colter, and then she's obviously married to Waylon. So there's a part of that that's really cool too.
And then the last one we have is Tompall, Glaser or Glaser,
whichever we end up deciding on.
I'll try to say Glaser.
Yeah.
Glaser, Glaser, tomato,
potato, tomato. Let's call
the whole thing.
His couple of brothers were they were in a group called Tompall and the Glaser Boys, or Glaser Boys,
Glaser Boys,
something like that. And so he tried going, being an artist, and then eventually he settled on owning a recording studio in Nashville that was dubbed Hillbilly Central. And people like Waylon ended up recording there.
Yeah.
And then, that's how he got in so close with these guys. And then they put this thing together, and Waylon said, "You need to be on this album, and I want you to sing on this album. I want a couple of your songs on this," and that's what ended up happening.
That's cool.
Nice. Well, we'll probably get into.
One second. All the fans out there, if anyone can correct us on this Glaser versus Glaser issue, by all means, send
us a clip of someone pronouncing it. Yeah.
I feel really bad. Maybe during a break I will confirm
we don't know.
No. I like the mystery.
I've obviously done. I didn't get to that. So.
I like the mystery of it.
Trying to fuck this up.
I like the mystery of it personally. So, yeah.
And the fact that somebody would correct you is good, because then
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we love.
Yeah, John.
We love corrections from you guys.
So all these artists at this time in 1976, this would have been released. All of these artists were on like different labels, and traditionally,
that's really cool too. Actually,
that doesn't. Yeah, they don't. You wouldn't get to have a bunch of artists on different labels to put something together. So that's why this is such an anomaly as well.
Yeah. No, so you guys want to get on to the first track though? We'll probably get into a lot more as we go on.
Yeah.
We got this first track is My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. And it is by Sharon Vaughn. So, Yeah, we'll try to let you guys know what the original artists are for this one.
She wrote it. I don't think she performed it.
No. Yeah, written by Sharon Vaughn.
Yeah.
So let me play that.
Sadly in search of, one step in back of themselves and their slow moving dreams.
All right, so this one, the album was predominantly upbeat. So although it starts with this brooding song, "My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys," which is much it laments on the loneliness of outlaw life as much as it celebrates the freedom of it. In the audio version of his autobiography, Jennings confessed it was an oddly downbeat way to start an album, but it seemed to sum up the frontier loneliness that often came hand in hand with our ideas of rugged individualism.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Willie Outlaw in general.
Yeah, Willie Nelson would cover this and take that song to #1 in 1980 when it appeared on the soundtrack to The Electric Horseman.
Well, I think it's a really ironic intro song for this album. Because the album is called Wanted the Outlaws, and then the first song is about my heroes have always been cowboys. And, in the general, mythos of America, cowboys are, good guys. But we sometimes forget that often cowboys were also vigilantes. And sometimes we're in the line between outlaw and outlaws and cowboys kind of were similar in lifestyles, I think, and that's something
I think that we've grown to believe.
Yes,
based on all the folklore around it, because of the TV shows that were made about the West, and this the way that all of us think about the West. I don't remember.
That was Hollywood, by the way.
Yeah, no, we have there's the mythology of the West that's not the same as historical West.
Right. Of it being a bunch of vaqueros, I think is the term in Spanish, but it's actual cowboys, they're
people that herded cows and stuff. Yeah.
Right. And they did that for 20 years.
They never do that for sheep.
Then they invented barbed wire.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. And I was
officially existed for 20 years, and then they invented barbed wire.
Okay, that was the big change.
Yes.
But I was just wondering, why don't they ever call them sheep boys or camel boys?
Well, what's the
cowboys?
What's the translation in Spanish that maybe it just didn't work with?
I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things that just stuck. Maybe it just got alliteration to it. I mean, it does feel good to say cowboy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's so funny when you think about it. It's such an unmanly term. Cow.
Boy. Yeah, it is.
But yet, women
separately
swoon for cowboys these days.
Separately, those words are not powerful at all.
Neither one of those words, but you put it together.
Yeah, whole different story.
You got yourself a nice tall dark stranger with a weird shaped hat.
To your point, Brad, if someone dressed up as a camel boy for Halloween, what?
Yeah, I guess it would be similar, but they're never mind. I can't get too much into it because I'm sure that no matter what I do, there will be some kind of weird connotation that I'm inferring. But there's I love that this is where it starts though. It's almost I almost see it as an outlaw lamenting that I wasn't supposed to be an outlaw. I loved the cowboys. I looked up to that ideal of what a Western individualist was.
Yeah. That was the intention.
Yeah.
And then life happens and.
Yeah. It's a lot lonelier than you expect it to be, you know.
And I think it is that kind of the opposite of what they wanted to do in the studio. Like they wanted to be their own. This is what they wanted. Yeah. This outlaw. It wasn't by name, but this is what they wanted to get to. They longed for this for a very long time, and they finally got there.
Yeah.
They were playing. If you look at a picture of Willie Nelson from 1962 or a picture of Waylon Jennings mid 60s, they don't look anything like what you know these guys to be like. You know, Waylon Jennings that went on to be the narrator and he sang the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Nice.
So like, you know, they built to grow into this role.
Yeah. After like a whole career almost.
Yeah. Willie Nelson's like 90 now, so he was. Okay. You know, he spent both of them did a long time struggling. So I mean, I think this song is definitely part of that.
I was going to ask, do you know, is this what got Willie Nelson back into music then? Or was he still kind of off music for a little while after that? I don't know much of Willie Nelson's timeline.
He had like a couple years, I think, that he was kind of disillusioned from the industry, but he kind of got like, this is 1973. I know we can't, it's a podcast, but it's the,
well, hey, you know, if you guys go to the patreon.com/flyoverstatepark, you might just find a video of this podcast. So just saying.
And of this moment, perhaps. This is Shotgun Willie, the album that was released in 1973.
Wait, is he inside of a shotgun?
He is.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to figure out what the perspective was there. Like, what is
Shotgun Willie?
Okay.
If I take the this off, it's a little bit better. But
there we go.
In New York City, so
I can see I can see the age in the sleeve.
Yeah.
God, I miss going record shopping, man. I just can't.
I do too.
I just can't do it right now because of the, it just feels messed up.
And buying them off the internet's just not the same.
It's not. But
crate digging, I guess they call it.
Crate digging, yes. If you want to get a fat hip hop beat, you're gonna dig some crates.
Hippity hop.
Or Willie Nelson.
This one. Don't stop. Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows? You could maybe throw that on a hip hop beat. I bet that you could find something.
Yeah.
Hey, man, there's all sorts of things you can do with hip hop, T-Tang.
I mean, last week, the ones that the last episode that we had.
Yes. Prince Among Thieves, Part 2.
By Prince Paul. There were so many sounds to that and old sampled songs that just like you would have never thought would have appeared. So you never know.
By the way, you know what? Never mind. I can't talk about it yet. There's something I really, really want to talk about with the people from the podcast about that album, but I'm gonna wait until we get more information. But yeah, that was a really wait. What, John?
No, I was gonna say move on to the next song.
Oh well, that's what I was gonna do. So yeah, we're on the same page, John, as we usually are. You want to what is this? Honky Tonk Heroes. So
yes, originally from 1973 off of Waylon's album Honky Tonk Heroes. I believe that was right, Brad. This was
which is a concept album according to the article that you sent me. So another concept song, guys. So this is
Billy Joe Shaver song.
I'm just going to play it.
I was down at Green Gables, hawking them tables, and generally blowing all my hard-earned pay. Piano rolled blues, danced holes in my shoes. There weren't other way to be.
You can kind of hear this, like this is the part where it's starting to build into that, like, honky, like rocking honky tonk rockabilly, and the way that the song kind of progresses into is really great.
Yeah, like this is it's not what like I said, it's not what I was expecting the country to sound like, because this is almost like, in a weird way, closer to, maybe like the Beatles or like Elvis kind of era,
like a southern rock,
like early rock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is, obviously inspired by country. So
right.
Yeah.
This is all happening like in the same, not in the same places, but at the same time in different places.
Yeah. Because this is 76.
Like
I don't know if we mentioned, but this is 76 it came out.
76 it came out.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, the album. This
yeah. I just don't know if we mentioned yet in this podcast.
Sure.
The year it came
I don't
out.
think we did.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to include.
I'm trying to get more. I'm trying to get better about the year stuff now that we've done so many of these. Because like now I'm like really curious. Like, oh, this is 76. So what came out?
So where did the next one come?
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have to make a timeline maybe of.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
And for all the listeners to like listen in order.
Yeah.
Like the MCU timeline, you're supposed to like listen or watch those movies in.
Oh my God, that'd be so great. I'm gonna have to do that. It'll be like the ultimate album concept hour playlist.
Yeah.
But this one I really enjoyed. This one I learned something actually that I'm ashamed to admit that has taken this long for me to find out. But a honky tonk apparently is a place in which country music is played. And I had no idea, and I just thought that all these years country people were just throwing around the term honky tonk because it sounded right. But
like the Stones talking about a honky tonk woman. And...
Yeah, exactly. That one especially confused me.
That goes all the way back to oh my God, senior.
It's in the
Hank Williams.
It's from the late 1800s, I believe, is when they originally started being called that. And there's various sources for why it was that. But yeah, it's apparently the writer of this song, Billy Joe Shaver. Is it Shaver or Schaefer? How's that pronounced? Is it really Shaver?
Yes.
Okay. Billy Joe Shaver, and his mom worked at a honky tonk. And Waylon Jennings, who is, performing the song, also worked at a honky tonk, and specifically, he worked at a honky tonk called John's Green Gables, which is, ironic or coincidental, I guess, because in this song, in the chorus, it says, "I was down at Green Gables, hawking them tables." So... he must have, I don't know if this was just a song that he heard it and he's like, hey, that's like my life. I should play this.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think he might have, and it was Billy Joe's song, definitely, but I think maybe he maybe he didn't change the lyrics, but like helped construct it or something.
Fun fact.
That could be. I don't know how the process was. What, John?
The fun fact about one more fun fact about honky tonk. Here's what I'm talking about country and such.
Okay.
Is that honky tonk was one of the first call and answer to type songs. So there was a guy who, by the name of Hank Thompson. He released a song called "The Wild Side of Life" that had a lyric in it going, "God made honky tonk angels." So this and it was a whole song about fidelity and such,
Yeah.
And so this woman, Kitty Wells, released an answer song a couple years later that went, "It wasn't God who made honky tonk."
Very good, John. Very good. I was actually I totally spaced saying this, but I wanted to bring that up. So thank you so much. That is awesome.
Oh,
as I know, just thinking about honky tonk and like the roots of it, I remembered that fact, and I was like, that's really cool.
And that's a really like important thing too. The first song we listened to it's not from a woman's point of view, but it was written by a woman. And then we're gonna have a couple songs that are written by Jessi Colter and are definitely from a woman's point of view. So I'm not saying that it's like equal, but for the 1970s, this is more equal. And then the last song.
Yeah, it's pretty progressive for 76.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I really liked in all these guys and Outlaw Country is it is all very progressive and
yeah.
That's great.
That's part of. I think that's part of the Outlaw part of it.
All about the bad women. They love them. Yeah.
But you want to get on to the next song though? The Blue Eyes. What is it called? I'm looking for Blue Eyes.
Blue Eyes, which was actually released as a different title that I will say after the clip.
Cool.
Storms and rain, tears and pain, bring me back his way, looking for blue eyes.
So it originally was What's Happened to Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
It was written entirely by Jessi Colter.
Mm-hmm.
And it was released in 1974 or 1975.
Yeah.
But it was recorded in 1974. So again, the same era that built into what this album became.
Yeah. Like that's the thing about this album is like some of these are covers of either covers of other, country artists or just slightly different renditions of their own.
Right.
But they're all pretty new. A lot of them are not that old,
right.
So they're drawing from.
Right.
So,
and they're kind of capitalizing on each other's names.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of these tracks from
the
Willie
super
Nelson
group
we're going to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had released like 4 RCA years before and for RCA standards or whatever, it flopped and it turned into why Willie Nelson left the label. So
Okay. Yeah, but this was one of my favorite tracks. I think I really like her voice and like the production that they give her in this song. Kind of reminds me of a like Fleetwood Mac, maybe like in between song, like not a hit song from Fleetwood Mac necessarily, but like one of the fun
you'd hear on that album.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that.
I really liked that. I don't know if it's a drumstick, but whatever's.
I think you're right. I think it is a metronome. I think what you said before was correct because it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like a drumstick hitting something. I don't think. But again, correct us if we're wrong, guys. If you know all about this, Wanted the Outlaws.
We love fan feedback.
Yes. Go to the Discord in our description and talk to us. We're lonely. But she's lonely too in this song, I
love this is just like another good old-fashioned Blue Eyes song in country music.
Well, it kind of I feel like it's kind of a callback to the first track of this album where he's talking about the life of a cowboy and let's see, I'm trying to find. Yeah, just take what you need from the ladies, then leave them with the words of a sad country song. And then here's the sad country song that he's like referring to in the first track, kind of, but from the woman's perspective.
Yeah, and then the end of this side of the album is Good Hearted Woman, and it talks about how the woman is so much like this good person. And we'll get into that more, but it's like, it's a cycle.
Yeah. Like that's one thing that we will say, like the first side of this album, like, even though this is a compilation of like different people's songs, like there is a story that seems to be being told, it just between your, typical cowboy situation and then your typical like woman in one of those Western towns,
And that woman in real life is Jessi Colter. Like him and Waylon and Jessi were married, but like they went through a lot of tough times because Waylon was going through substance abuse and addiction, and they pulled through it. But like, it's so cool the way everything works together.
Yeah. This album really flows for a compilation album. I was honestly surprised when you told me that these were all from different albums, because I thought that some of this was recorded just for this endeavor. You know, actually, I thought all of it was recorded for this endeavor when I first listened to it.
The kind of a definition of a compilation album there, Bo did.
Well, but I mean, like, there's. Like soundtracks though are different because you know from track to track, like, oh, this is this other song that they made a while back.
It's not like Outlaw Country's greatest hits. Like
yeah, it's a little different than that. Yeah, but yeah, everything fits very well. Like I think that it could have been from the same album. Like if you told someone this was all made in the studio at the same time, I think that they would.
It'd be believable.
Yeah.
It tells a story, but at the same time,
I guess I'm just trying to reassure myself.
There are a bunch of great songs, and
country's very good at doing that. You know, like you can really kind of take a lot of different kind of country songs, put them together.
Yeah,
get a good story out of it. You know.
What were you saying, Jake?
There's just the way that you could keep this on. You could play the whole album side, both sides, and have, great music, at the same time as telling a story. Yeah. So it's just and that's why like that Rush platinum.
It's kind of the Rush, like the Rush album. Remember, John, how like on the Rush album? Oh yeah, sorry, you were there too. The first track is just like all this epic big story, and then the next side is like just a lot of fun songs. I feel like this has got a similar dynamic. Like I think the other half is connected too, but the first half is, I think, more connected than the second half.
So I guess I said it wrong, but Good Hearted Woman is on the second side.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it's also there's all definitely fun parts, but it also pokes at the first side too in different ways. And is responding to what was everything on the first side, because the first side is all between performing between Jessi and Waylon.
Yeah, that's another thing is they break this album apart very like the first half, Waylon and Jessi, and then immediately on side 2 you got a lot of Willie Nelson coming in, and then the last 2 tracks finally go to Tompall, Glaser. So it is segmented that way, which is cool. But yeah, I guess when I get into You Mean to Say, it's the next part of this star-crossed love story.
What do you mean to say, Brad?
I don't know what they mean to say.
Another one that was written and performed by Jessi Colter.
Okay.
You mean to say the love we knew is now at an end, is now at an end.
Yeah, I love the production on that one so much.
Yeah, it was like John, you said call and response earlier, and I thought you were alluding within a song. But did you hear her say that, like, she said that her line, and then the like guitar answered with the response?
I did not, but that's a very cool thing.
Can you play that again?
Yeah, I can.
Maybe
I can. I mean, I don't think there's rules against playing it twice.
You mean to say the love we knew is now at an end.
Right here.
Is now at an end.
It's very nice.
Yeah. That's fucking cool.
That's that slide guitar in the back.
And then they have the
Miss
soulful
that.
chorus.
Old country used to use that a lot.
I like that they have the soul, like, full chorus in the background, because that's not used, I think, nearly enough in country, you know? It's because it's just immediately when you have a chorus behind you as well, like, it just has a different kind of effect.
It doesn't sound like the song is overproduced, which I think, like, usually when you have a chorus behind you,
Yeah.
sounds like it's overproduced.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, it feels very natural. It feels like you could hear them all in the studio together doing this. And they might be and they might not be. You know, it could just be good mixing.
I think this was 1971 from this is I think the B side.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right.
That's pretty cool because this is a good track.
Yeah.
And I think as far as the story, you know, between these you know, the cowboy and the what's a name? What's a good PC name for a lady from the Old West? They're all pretty bad, right? Like,
Yeah.
all the shorthands they had for the ladies back then.
Yeah.
We'll just say Jessi. We'll just say Jessi Colter. All right. This is going to be the cowboy, the blue-eyed cowboy, and Jessi Colter. But they're. I think this might be where they are, having that conversation before maybe the cowboy has to leave town. You know, like they're having like the hard talks and like, you know, like she's like, you know, you mean to say like, you know, you love me and now it's at an end and you're walking away.
Right.
Like,
She's actually confronting
yeah.
the cowboy about you know, the infidelity or all these concerns, and that's something that like women didn't do for a lot of the time, you know.
Yeah.
Women revolution. Woo!
Yeah, this is a very like, I mean, I won't say it's like straight up feminist, but it's like very progressive. It's very female positive.
Very progressive.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you guys like Loretta Lynn or have heard any of Loretta Lynn's stuff.
Oh no, dude, I love all that old country, dude. My dad had me listen to that every Sunday morning.
Very nice. Sundays too for me. That was it was classic.
There was like
country
this
on
Verona
Sunday.
station that did it every Sunday on the way to church.
Dodgeville had classic country. D99.3 was the.
That, you know what? I bet that's the station I'm thinking of, anyways.
And
so
it was Sunday afternoons at least, but
my family was all big band. My family was all big band and no country.
Well, see, I wish I had more. I would have had more of that too.
Yeah,
But Loretta Lynn was very influential in like the genre. Like the songs that she wrote like were very progressive, and she ended up being a Trump supporter. You know, eventually. But she's close to 90, so we'll just give her that. But
yeah.
But I mean, she wrote a song about birth control in like the mid, 60s, and like a bunch of different things that were very standing up for. If you guys have you guys seen Coal Miner's Daughter, the movie?
Yes, I have. I have seen snippets of it,
not.
so I know what you're talking about.
So my fiance Kayla is like one of her heroes is Loretta Lynn, and so I've gotten to know her Loretta Lynn a lot better within the last couple of years, and just the way that she confronted so many issues that were hard to, and she started off like on her own, and a lot of I see a lot of parallels with what Willie Nelson and Waylon wanted to do with her as well.
Yeah, I think that it's clear that they had a very shared experience, and they wanted to, uplift, that experience of being, just shafted by the industry or whatever.
Yeah, and they wanted their independence.
Yeah,
like as artists.
Exactly. Yeah, as artists, as people,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a really, really great that there is such a strong female presence in this album. You guys want to get on to track 5 and then take a break?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
This is the one everyone knows this one. This is Suspicious Minds, and
written by Mark James.
Yep. And it is performed by Waylon Jennings and Jessi Colter.
You can hear in the strumming.
Yeah.
The strumming and the piano, like the way that they're playing, it sounds like they're upset. Like it sounds like there's so much tension in that.
Yeah. It's like a continuation kind of like what they were talking about in the last song.
Yeah.
And it's really intense. Like and when this one builds to that, it really, really like it's like you said, it's intense. You feel it. Like it's a great build.
Way more than the Elvis version that everybody knows. I think. Like there's just a whole different feeling that this version of the song releases compared to Elvis.
Yeah, because like this is like a back and forth between two people,
and two people that were maybe, if not at this time, but have gone through things.
Yeah,
like this.
Which like is a different. Yeah, it's a kind of a different song because of that, because of the fact that it's one perspective versus two perspectives. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Elvis one is like, it's got that nice, creamy Elvis stuff going on. But like, I love all of the like, there's like some, what is it called? They're not keys necessarily, but it's like they're like the metallic sounding, like organy keys. But yeah, they have a lot of fun in the middle, like fun little stuff going on in the background of this song a lot. So it's like this is like a bittersweet kind of song because like it's like a celebration of like love, but like it's bittersweet because it's
marking the end. Right?
Yeah. You're begging for it to not end this way,
Yeah. I think this was 1970 when this version of it was recorded. So this is like a year or so into their relationship.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So this is like you said, they had a lot of stuff that they dealt with in the beginning of the relationship. So yeah, I'm sure they really felt all this. But
it ended up reaching number 2 in 1976 with the re-release version. It had reached number 25 in 1970 though. Because it was included on this album, it ended up reaching number 2. So this was one of the bigger hits off of this album too.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
I wish this version was played more today. Well, like I know, like today, I mean, you mostly do hear the Elvis version, which is, it's the most popular one. But like, I think that people should play this one more. Go to your after the pandemic, of course, go to your local bar and play this song.
So
I'm sure it's on there.
Yeah, probably. I bet this whole album's on there, honestly.
The Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by Duo or Group with Vocal. This song was nominated in 1975, I think, or 1976.
It would have to be 76, I think, because this came out in 76.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it in here.
Oh wait, but
Fleetwood Mac.
was this was this released?
1971.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It'd be
Because these are
1971.
all. That's right. All these songs came out before this.
But
album.
Johnny Cash and June Carter beat them. So
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
Oh, that's rough.
It's Johnny and June, you know.
That must have been one of the.
won this category the year before with MacArthur Park, which is a great song on its own.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably why they gave it to Johnny and June though, because they're like, well, half of you already got one last year, so you know, because you know they don't.
Yeah,
they try to.
They do that.
They do that kind of
Established
stuff.
systems tend to do that. It's like,
And I think that was
It's
the
like-
first year of it, actually.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we don't want to seem biased, so we
Yeah,
can't
for
do the 2
years-
guys
for
in a
the
row.
first 2 years in a row, we got to give it to some. You know, we can't give it to the same person.
Yeah. It's like I get it, but it's also dumb.
it's like DiCaprio winning his Oscar for
The Revenant.
Reverend.
Yeah. The Revenant.
there's like 3 or 4 other movies he literally could have won it for. And we've
Yeah,
been like,
yeah. Yeah.
But he gets it for the Reverend. All right.
Yeah, The
Glad
Revenant.
you got your honorary award, DiCaprio.
Yeah.
You should have won it for Wolf of Wall Street, but let's move on from that.
Yeah. He's just a good actor. I mean,
This is a good
what
actor.
are you gonna do?
Very true.
Yeah, he's
Very true.
good at doing that acting stuff.
Anyways.
But yeah, that's I have no transition out of.
That's the first side.
That's the first side though. That's
the
side
first
one.
side.
And then the next side, we get right into it with Willie Nelson
back,
and Waylon
it's
Jennings.
side
Side 2, not side B, but side 2. Welcome back, everybody, to the Album Concept Hour. We are on the second side of the Wanted, the Outlaws album. Oh, that's right. I was going to say I'm Brad LeBaron, and then we have our host, Jake the Snake, and we have our co-host, John. So, yeah, there's my clumsy back transition. I'll cut it all together so it makes sense. But yeah, you guys want to just get into the first track and then start talking about it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
This is like the big takeaway from this album. I mean, this is one of the ones that people remember these two about. You know, most some think this is it. So
yeah, it is A Good-Hearted Woman.
The good life he promised ain't what she's living today. Willie!
But she never complains of the bad times or the bad things he's done. Lord.
So this apparently was a live recording, and I think I've seen the video of this, and they dubbed Willie's voice over. Like even in the recording and at the concert, Waylon said Willie, and then he just ended up doing Willie's part, but they overdubbed it with Willie when they did this album.
So he says Willie live.
Yeah.
He does say Willie live, and then he says he keeps singing.
Then he just sings it because I think you know, traditionally in concerts,
Interesting.
they would do this song together.
Yeah.
So if I sang this, you know, when I used to get to do karaoke at when I hosted that when that was a thing.
Yeah. In the before times.
Yeah. I would also do the Willie part, and then then I would do the rest. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good mix though. Like you don't really notice it if you're not looking for it. But I guess you can kind of hear it if you're looking for it. Maybe
people thought that this was like they like took the sound from like the concerts, like the crowd noise.
Yeah.
They like made that you know, but I think it was just really well done when they recorded it.
I was gonna say it reminded me of what it sounded like in the Folsom Prison album, The Audience. It sounded like a similar kind of audio levels. I almost thought at points like maybe they took something from the Folsom Prison song, but I'm like, or album, but it's probably
maybe they
just
recorded it at Folsom Prison. Yeah.
Well, it's probably just that like age of recording equipment and capturing the audience, and that's just maybe just the best it sounded at that point. But yeah, it does sound a little. I could see where people would think that, because I mean, they are perfect audience moments. The audience breaks are like, this is like a really nice audience, and they are like paying attention to like his beats perfectly.
They're holding up a sign that says "Applaud now."
Yeah, and I wonder. I mean, if this was made with that in mind. Was this song made with that in mind? I mean, was this? I mean, since he says Willie, like, I mean, he was obviously knew that Willie was going to do this verse, right?
Well, I think traditionally Willie did this verse, from what I gathered, and I kept looking for.
Just for some reason, though, he couldn't be there for
this particular
performance.
Right. So Jessi.
That's
Colter
a tricky move.
Yeah. Jessi Colter opened for those two, doing this outlaw act or whatever.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
And this kind of continues on, like you were saying, on the other side of the album. This kind of continues on the story that has been presented in the first half a little bit, because it's. The cowboy going off into the distance and leaving the lady behind is, a similar tale to the kind of good-hearted woman helping like a good-timing man, and kind of just sacrificing for him and his, good times all the time.
His wicked ways that she just doesn't understand.
Yeah. It's just your classic good girl loves bad guy kind of song, and just supports him.
Like the complete opposite of what John was talking about earlier in the what was the song called, John?
We're talking about the call and response.
Yeah, the Honky Tonk.
God didn't create Honky Tonk Angels.
That was the response, but
that was the response song.
What was the Hank Thompson song?
Oh, Jeepers Crappy. Because it had the line
God
Honky Tonk
loves
Angels.
Honky Tonk Angels?
No.
But blaming a woman
God made Honky Tonk
for
Angels.
The hard times of life or something.
Yeah.
But it was like calling women out for being not so proper, and that was the reason why they that the males were being
the wild side of life.
The wild side.
That was the Hank Thompson song.
Yeah, so women hanging out in bars and corrupting all of these good men because
that
always has happened.
The bar is for the dudes. It's not for the ladies.
The ladies that are there are just corrupting the dudes.
Yeah. Actively, like in some menacing way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for, to mess with all the guys.
Yes. If you can't tell the sarcasm in our voices, people, there is a little bit of sarcasm.
I was teaching. I had these kids that would always call me out for being sarcastic, and I wasn't at all being sarcastic. And that was being sarcastic. So yeah.
You have a dry way of presenting stuff in a way that some people are like confused about sometimes.
The kid was peeling an orange, and they got it all together in one peel.
Yeah.
Like stuck together. And I was like, wow. And they're like, you're being sarcastic. And I'm like, no, I'm like,
I'm being sincere.
You don't
This
know.
is me when I'm being sincere.
Yes. I'm sorry if for the 20th day in a row that you've done this, that I'm not as surprised as, the first one and or whatever. So
Yeah. It's hard to keep that level of attention and excitement.
Yeah, and it is. I'm sorry, it is just an orange peel. But
And yes, at the end of the day, this is just an orange peel. Why have you given this to me? But yeah, I mean, I think this is a song that, yeah, like you said, there's a really famous one. A lot of people have heard this, and it's a pretty straightforward story. Like I think you've laid out pretty well already, Jake.
Have you guys seen
Yeah.
the ranch on Netflix?
No.
Oh yeah,
I never
I
watched
know what
it.
you're talking about.
But what is
Ashton
the
Kutcher show?
yeah?
Yeah, and that
it's-
Scientologist guy, Danny Masterson.
well, they killed him off.
Yeah.
a certain
After
point.
the Scientology stuff.
after
got
the
out.
rapey stuff.
Well, that stuff was connected, believe it or not, to the Scientology
really?
stuff,
Oh my
I believe.
God.
So,
Well, they used a Willie Nelson.
Well,
I can't remember which.
they more like protected him about that stuff, and then killed the dog of the person that was accusing him of that. So, yeah, Danny Masterson, everybody.
Oh man.
What were you talking about though with the ranch? I'm sorry, I derailed about some horrible stuff.
The ranch's theme song was "Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys," which between that one being a duet,
yeah,
and then
I remember liking that
this
song.
one. They very famous song between those two.
well, they did a lot of work together in the coming years, right after this album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and before that too, maybe not. And they were good friends leading up.
Yeah,
They didn't just go,
Oh,
"Oh, this
very
guy's
much
stuff
so.
is." They didn't go, "This guy's stuff is really
They
good." so
were
I'm
they,
just-
they were all friends.
yeah.
It seems like they're very close. Just everyone in this album.
And when that happens, you make good stuff.
Yeah. You got an entire support
you
system.
hate to say it, but that really was that was the country community at the time. Look at the Grand Ole Opry. Grand Ole Opry was literally an institution in country music for
Well, and they were all.
I mean,
They were all
still
from
is,
Texas,
but-
right? All of the people in this group were from Texas as well, right?
Tompall Glaser, I think he was from Colorado. He's the
Okay.
one.
Did he reside in Texas when they were doing this? Because
he was in Nashville with that studio, the Hillbilly Central.
oh, that's
studio.
right. That's right.
But they found each other in Nashville. But I think because of, and Johnny talked about this, the Grand Ole Opry it held up. I mean, Hank Williams, they didn't like Hank Williams for a long time because he was this outlaw. Looked as being this
drunk.
One of the OG
Right.
outlaw country.
He wasn't the
people.
person that they wanted representing their little Elvis. They didn't like Elvis for a while. There was an image to the Grand Ole Opry, and this was to go against that image, and that's what they wanted to break through to. And I know I've said this a bunch of times at this point, but
Yeah, but they all wound up becoming members of the Grand Ole Opry, so
eventually the Grand Ole Opry
accepted.
they bent over and then they
They
joined.
took it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they
I was gonna
did.
let you finish the rest of that.
Yeah. Grand Old Opry and stuff. Again, I hear what you guys are saying, but I get lost a few times because I'm Grand Ole Opry, okay, there's that, and then there's Nashville, and then...
Ken Burns' country music was so good.
is that informative?
Very
Ken Burns
informative.
is really
Good.
Ken Burns is a
Then
very
I will.
good documentary.
Then I'm gonna
Check
watch
it
that documentary and then pretend like I know a lot about country in the future.
out. Hey,
No,
how
that's
you
what
do
I've
it,
done.
man.
That's what I've done.
That's how you do it. That's the game, Brad.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of this.
Game.
I knew a lot of it, but there's a lot
That's
of
where I get all
things
my
that-
stuff.
No, I'll take this part out so people don't know that I'm doing it either. So it's a perfect crime.
Literally, so much of my knowledge comes from just the fact that spent some lazy afternoons watching like VH1 countdowns and stuff like that.
You do like your music information, John. You do
reading too much stuff about popular music and deep music and other that had a whole 5-year period where I just
Getting to visit the Grand Ole Opry was definitely, I got to do it in, I don't know, it was the mid 2010s or whatever. I don't even know how we're supposed to talk about that era, but that was
the 2010s is probably right.
2010s,
yeah.
Teens.
And then the aughts. Wait, what are the aughts? Are the aughts just the 2000s? The aughts?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's an old timey term, but I think
because it hadn't been used in like 100 years. Sure.
Good point. Yes, by default it is an old timey term.
And now it's
back. All of a sudden it's back.
No, quick funny side story. I literally saw something on Facebook. I was like, "What's your grandparents' names?" I bet they're old names. No way. Your old grandparents would have old names.
Yeah. Why? And also, is this like some weird way to learn like my secret passwords for my web accounts or something?
Yeah.
What is your grandparents' name?
Yeah,
what is your first pet?
Paternal grandmother's first name or maiden name or something.
Yeah. Careful for those surveys, guys. They're tricky.
When I visited Nashville and I got to go to the Grand Ole Opry and like the old, I actually went to the old Grand Ole Opry, and I can't remember the name of the hall, but it's so cool. The Johnny Cash show was taped there. A lot of different things were really cool about it. So, instead of going to see the Rolling Stones, unfortunately, I went to the Grand Ole Opry, which I still to this day. They were in town on the same night. Could have gone to.
Well, that's Nashville,
Tennessee
though, right?
Titans play. Yeah.
There's always something going on in Nashville.
Yeah. So, still would have liked to see the Stones more than Trace Adkins.
Yeah.
But I got to go to the Grand Ole Opry, so it is what it is. So.
Yeah. Well, you get a little bit of heaven, you get a little bit of hell. You know what I mean? So.
All right, play it.
I'm getting there.
Walking the street paved with gold.
I need to do the alt tab.
Heaven is laying in my sweet baby's arms. Hell is when baby ain't there.
A little motif with the mute in the trumpet, and I got a little bit of a circus vibe.
Yeah. Like yeah.
And the little organ, like circus organ.
Yeah.
Too.
It is almost like I know the last track is like a big crowd. It's a great way to start the first side of the album. But I feel like this track is almost like the intro to like the Willie side of the album. Yeah. Big Willie Nelson style.
I'm trying to find I've been trying to find. I think this is from Phases and Stages from 1970. Release. This is contradicting itself, but 1974, I think, is when this one was released. But it's only 1 minute and 37 seconds long, which is also
I was about to say there's not
crazy.
There's not a whole lot of information on Genius either about this. There's no notes. There isn't even a year listed for this track. But it's a really short, kind of just nice little, capture of Willie Nelson, what he's about.
Yeah, and again, like a relationship, I think. Like, well, sometimes it's heaven and sometimes it's hell, and sometimes I don't even know. And,
and you just don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he says heaven's like being in a sweet baby's arms, and then hell's when the baby ain't there.
Yeah.
So, like, he's definitely putting, like the basically, happiness and loneliness into perspective, with heaven and hell. Because loneliness is a big part of a lot of this album, I think. Probably a lot of Western stuff in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a nice, simple track. Nice kind of folksy kind of,
Start to the pure stuff from Willie Nelson.
Yeah. And
the next one is about
this one's fun.
Willie Nelson's drummer.
Yeah.
I had his Paul English was his name. He just left. He passed away in 2020 on February 11th. So, he didn't become Willie Nelson's drummer until 1966, but he played with Delbert McClinton among others. Started playing with Willie in 1955 though, and so he's later.
I think he played probably. He was like, it seems like he's just been friends with Willie Nelson since 55 and probably played here and there, and then 66 became official from what I could I could see.
And I know by the time at least the albums that I have here from the mid 80s, he wasn't recorded on those, but he toured with the band. So
yeah. So here is Me and Paul.
Well, it's been rough and rocky traveling, but I'm finally standing upright on the ground. And after taking several readings, I'm surprised to find my mind still fairly sound.
Shout out to Milwaukee in there too, and all the little misadventures and events.
Yeah.
Traveling the road.
Yeah. It's a really great tour song. It's just a bundle of stories from being on the road, and all of them with his buddy Paul, the drummer. And apparently, I thought it was funny. His apparently nickname was the Devil, and English also serves as a combined role as the road boss of Willie's traveling company, tour accountant, protector, collector, and enforcer, roles embellished by his proud past as a hoodlum, pimp, and police character, according to Oxford American. So,
wow.
Apparently he's just got such a crazy backstory that this is how they talk about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he deserves I was gonna say he deserves a whole album, but I think he did get a full album.
Oh yeah.
When I looked through Willie Nelson's album,
does he have one about something about Paul?
Yeah, it was Me and Paul. He named entire.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I like that because there's not. I don't know. There's not a lot of songs that do this.
Songs about drummers in particular.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Usually, I don't know, if it's a song about another person like that, it's someone that's I don't know, someone at home, back home, or some old friend or something. I don't know. But, yeah. I don't know. I guess there's, the Beatles would sometimes refer to one another in their songs.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's not too often that it happens in this.
Yeah.
But
I think can I find this is what I do on the radio show when I'm like, I'm scrolling through my notes.
Oh yeah. The words that you have to say to fill the void between your finger hitting the scroll thing and when you get to the part of the page that you need to be at. And eventually you get there and you've been talking the whole time. And sometimes you don't and you think of something else.
Yeah. This is one of those times.
Yeah. Well, we drank a lot of whiskey, so I don't know if we went on at all that night. Oh, that's the line. Actually, I was looking for this line earlier. I just like the way that they describe it. But yeah, they got so hammered, they don't know if they went on at all. And then he says, but I don't think they even missed us. I guess Buffalo ain't geared for me and Paul. So
that's
Buffalo
That's
ain't
just
ready for
great.
me and Paul.
Yeah, yeah.
And Paul gonna shit.
1985, Me and Paul. That's the album.
Okay.
It's Willie in a sleeveless shirt with his ponytails, and he's just smiling. So it's.
Have you seen a picture of this English?
I think it actually has a little picture of him
Have you
on the album.
Okay, is he in his
Look up the
cape?
album Me and Paul.
Is he in his cape? I have a picture of him looking like a friggin' magician or something. Like he's got this red cape thing,
Paul
and he's
English
making
is
this
gonna be
like grand pose.
He is going to be the winner out of this whole.
He must have been a character.
Yeah. Oh my God, he does. He looks like a character.
Yeah. Apparently, Devil in a Sleeping Bag is also about him. But yeah. I want to learn more about
Devil in
this
a
Paul
Sleeping
guy.
Bag.
Yeah. What's going on with
he
Paul?
fits the bill for an outlaw. That's,
Definitely. Yeah. Oh,
Like,
getting back to the
facial
actual,
hair
the actual
and,
album. Yeah.
It's no wonder why he was that. He included him on this. essentially.
Yeah. This is kind of the perfect song to include from his catalog. Yeah. Because Paul is obviously, if he's being referred to as a pimp in his past, then he's definitely an outlaw of sorts.
Yeah, there were pimps in the Old West.
There's always been.
Oh, most
pimps.
definitely. Sometimes
there's
they were
been-
the women themselves.
Yes, it's one of the
The
world's
women had
oldest
the control in the
professions, if
South.
you will.
In the West.
In the West. Yeah.
1,000 Ways to Die in the West.
That was the way. Oh, 1,000 Ways to Die in the West.
Not
Very underrated movie.
Oh, wait, was that the one with the Family Guy guy?
Seth
Yeah,
MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane.
That's right. I never actually watched it, but was it
You
good?
should.
Really good? Okay.
Yeah, it's. I bought it. It was so good.
Okay.
It's like Blazing Saddles for a modern audience.
Okay.
Less
Okay.
racism, I think.
Yes,
Or-
much less racist.
I guess the racism, the racism that isn't Blazing Saddles, that it was intentional.
Yeah. It's like
So,
it's
um,
like the point of the plot or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll have to check
Anyways,
that out. I
yeah.
like me some westerns, and
There are bits from that movie that there's a point where Seth MacFarlane comes in late and his dad is just sitting there in a rocking chair and he's like, "You're late." And then Seth MacFarlane's like, "For what?" And then his dad's like, "Fair enough, because there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do." So
nice.
dry stuff.
That is the Old West. All right. You know what the Old West is like, guys? It's like this transition. It's like yesterday's wine. Just gets
like
better
yesterday's
the
wine.
longer that I stretch it out. Again.
There was
This is yesterday's
it was
wine.
the title track to Willie Nelson's 1971 album
The album
of
that sank him from RCA, apparently.
Yeah, this is the one that he wanted to quit after it
Yep.
was released. So yeah.
Yep. Like yesterday's wine.
Taking all yesterday's wine. Yesterday's wine. I'm yesterday's wine. Aging with time.
In 1982, it was at number one, a duet between George Jones and Merle Haggard.
Ah,
So-
a lot of duets. These guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
they'd cover it, but
yeah.
it was Yesterday's Wine. The album was regarded by RCA as way too spooky and far out to waste promotion money on.
Spooky.
And, yeah.
I did notice, like, I don't know if this is what they mean, but it seems like he's using more like minor chords and like I guess not necessarily the poppiest decisions, but like the, it does seem kind of melancholy.
Avant-garde, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the song that you would hear next to. The only one that came to my mind was like "Suspicious Minds" by Elvis.
Yeah, definitely.
There's something like in that era.
Yeah,
it was recorded in that production studio, in Nashville.
Yeah, but he's making choices with how he's singing that like really emote and aren't what you think is going to come next. You know what I mean? Like it's in some ways poppy, but in other ways it subverts the pop formula. Like I'm really, really intrigued by Willie Nelson from the little that I've heard from him. It seems like he takes a very avant-garde kind of approach to country music, which is probably why he had so much trouble with the industry because it's very rigid.
Brad, you noticed? Did we say this in this part of the show of the podcast? Like, you noticed the time signature.
Oh yeah. He seems like it's like 7/8 or something. That's like not
the typical country.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do a lot with like Willie's phrasing.
Yeah,
it's so different than others. It's something that is a product of each other.
Yeah, well, John was saying it reminded him of like haikus earlier.
Yeah,
the way that he
that's kind of like things. I mean, like not not actual styles of haiku. But
but I mean like
the country equivalent. That's kind of how Willie sounds to me. He's not singing. He's kind of just talking his way through the song.
Yeah.
But it's got a country vibe, and you're really feeling it.
Yeah.
It kind of brings you back to Johnny Cash too, because Johnny Cash did a similar.
Well, he doesn't try to overdo it. He doesn't try to what's
like
the word?
Auto-tune would never come across for like a.
Well, I'm just saying like
Willie
it doesn't.
Nelson persona because. That's just not what he does.
Well, I think it's like he's not showing off, is what I mean. Like he's not like
there's not a range that his voice is trying to, he's not going. He's not showing off his voice. It's the song. It's he's being himself.
He's not going to any kind of extreme.
Yeah.
Very middle of the road.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like Bob Dylan, but Bob Dylan definitely changed his voice for certain things. I saw Willie Nelson at Summerfest.
Oh yeah,
with Bob Dylan. Willie Nelson opened for Bob Dylan.
Oh, you were at that one, huh?
I watched the entire set of Willie Nelson.
That's awesome.
And then Bob came out for like 3 songs, and Foghat was playing like down the hill. It was like one member of Foghat from the original band.
Yeah.
But Bob didn't sound the best, but I wanted to make sure that I listened to some and saw Bob Dylan live. And definitely worth it. But Willie was great then, and he's still producing music today, which is so cool.
Wow.
Like February 2021, February 26, 2021, he's released. There's an album coming out.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. Yeah, he's going to keep on doing it. We actually just reviewed on Side B. We reviewed Neil Young's Colorado, which just came out in 2020. And
all right.
Yeah, still making
this
stuff.
Is a modern album.
Yeah, I thought that we thought initially that it was much older. Like we just looked at the title, we were like, "Oh, Colorado, that must be from like the 70s or some shit." And we finally like started preparing it. We're like, "Whoa, this came out last year? What the hell?"
Is that with Crazy Horse?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah.
It was interesting. If you guys are curious, go check out the YouTube short version of that episode, or go to patreon.com/flyoverstatepark to hear the full episode, guys.
Hey, there you go.
Or just go there just to support what I'm doing in general, honestly. Like, I mean, I appreciate if you listen to the episodes too, but like, yeah, anyway. You want to get to the next track?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's do
yeah.
it.
This is we should also
was
mention
it
this is
for-
the last Willie Nelson track of the album. This is where at this point it gets on to the
I have big news for everybody here.
oh, big news, everyone.
I did my research, which was watching a 2-minute video on YouTube. It is Glaser.
It's Glaser.
It is
It
Glaser.
is Glaser.
Glaser.
You guys were
Okay.
correct.
Like the donuts.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, okay.
This next one is a Jimmy Rogers song.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rogers was considered the father of country music, and he was like one of the first known like earliest and like biggest stars. And then he ended up dying at the age of 35 of tuberculosis, if I remember correctly.
I was getting a lot of people back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was well, he
Vaccines
died
work,
of
guys.
a pulmonary hemorrhage brought on by tuberculosis. So at that time, he accounted for fully
Tuberculosis
10% of RCA Victor sales. So that's why I'm sure they included him on this album, was because he was such a big impact on the country genre and the hillbilly genre.
Yeah. It's I'm looking at the picture for him on Genius, and it's definitely an old-timey picture. Yeah.
Is with his thumbs up? Is that the same one?
No, it's just him standing there in a white suit with the bow tie.
No.
Yeah.
I have one that looks like he's a train conductor.
Oh,
He's got a
okay.
guitar in his lap with his thumbs up. But
Okay. Well, this gets to sound more like what I would think outlaw country would sound like. So, this is T for Texas.
Well, T for Texas, T for Tennessee, T for Texas, T for Tennessee.
you could walk into a honky tonk and you could that would be the one that would be playing.
Yeah, definitely. Just the way, like, it's, he's just, the drawl that he's got, I don't know. It's got a different kind of bravado than the rest of the people on this album so far.
The song was called originally Blue Yodel #1. T for Texas.
Yeah. Blue
So,
Yodel #1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get the yodels.
And he's talking about, I like T for Texas, T for Tennessee, both the places that are really important in all of the stories we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And then T for Thelma, the gal that made a wreck out of me.
Which again hits the nail on the head with that.
Yeah.
Originally recorded in 1927.
27. Okay. Yeah. I like this line here, though. I don't quite understand it. I'd rather drink muddy water and sleep in a hollow log. I guess that just means I'd rather be homeless. Right? Than to be here in Atlanta, get treated like a dirty dog.
Well,
yeah.
Atlanta
Didn't have a great time in Atlanta, apparently.
Yeah.
That definitely seems to be the consensus.
I'm sure some African Americans were probably, I don't know that he was thinking of them, but would be in agreement.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure the history there. Because, it's by Jimmy Rogers, so it's earlier context. So I don't know.
Tis but an older song.
I can think of
unless he
at
took
least,
this song. I don't know. Continue.
And he took this song from an African American.
Yeah, that's what I was about to. That's what I was thinking for a second. Yeah, because that does happen a lot.
Here you go. The writing of Blue Yodel was credited to Rogers, like other blues performers at the time. Rogers composed his songs by mixing original lines with those of traditional and roadshow songs.
Okay.
Jim Jackson first recorded the opening line. T for Texas, T for Tennessee. And he was African American. So
Okay. All right. Asked and answered.
There you go.
Well, there you have your answer.
Yeah. Like almost all music in America,
Yep.
it comes from African Americans.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if that triggers you, I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
But we're not sorry at all.
I mean, there are some like without everything, you don't get what you get, and the way everything, was produced and then consumed and then spit out again, and the same process happening over again.
Yeah,
you don't get what you get, which is we got a lot of great stuff out of it, but there's not a lot of
representation in the like the spoils of it,
Right.
Yeah. A lot of artists that have been shafted throughout the years for many different reasons.
Yeah. Kind of like American society as well.
Yeah. Could commodify.
Hey, but we just made a breakthrough. Go team.
Oh, yeah.
USA.
Go team, messing up those stockbrokers,
those rich stockbrokers,
hedge funds.
Save GameStop. Attaboy, guys.
Fuck the shorts. But you guys want to get on? Speaking of really bad people, you guys want to get into the next track here? Put another log on the fire.
Track, I believe.
Otherwise known as the male chauvinist national anthem,
It's one of another set of songs that was written by Shel Silverstein, who, in my childhood, I knew as the poet.
Yes, me too.
Like where the sidewalk ends.
Yep.
Me as well.
Yep.
I had no idea that he wrote such great songs.
Yeah, that was a big surprise to me. I had a book where the sidewalk ends when I was young, and there was one age at some point someone's like, "Oh, here's this song that Shel Silverstein wrote," and I'm like, "What?
Yeah,
the children's book poet writer." Like, okay.
I was a freshman in high school, and I don't know if I told the story on this or not, but I was required to memorize a poem in high school. And instead of memorizing a poem, I did memorize a poem. It was a Shel Silverstein song. I remembered A Boy Named Sue, which was a Johnny Cash, song. So
yeah. Was that Shel Silverstein?
That was Shel Silverstein, yeah.
Wow, I did not fucking know. Wow.
I did not know that.
Yeah, A Boy Named Sue.
Okay.
I mean, there are so many that
now that you say it, does kind of have a boy name. It does kind of have a Shel Silverstein kind of twist to it,
Yeah. It's
especially if son, I'm gonna name him Bill or George, anything but Sue. I still hate that.
He wrote a bunch of songs for Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show.
Oh, really?
Okay.
25 Minutes to Go was a song. There's one more that's one of the biggest.
We might have to do a Shel Silverstein episode. Like, that might have to be a thing that happens, because
there's been a bunch of different artists that have done like a whole album of Shel Silverstein songs.
Wow. Okay. Maybe. Oh, okay. Then we can do an album.
Cover
maybe.
of the Rolling Stone. That song.
Cover of the Rolling Stone.
That was another Shel Silverstein song.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Well, this track is by Shel Silverstein, and sung by Tompall Glaser. I almost said Glaser now. I mean, almost twist me around.
So sit here at my feet, 'cause I like you when you're sweet, and you know it ain't feminine to fight. So put it
Sounds like a bunch of
Bacon and some
children
beans.
reciting that poem in the background. I would like to know.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it, but like, who are those kids? That are.
It reminds me of doesn't this happen in Rocky Raccoon, the song by the Beatles?
The Beatles.
Are there a few Paul McCartney songs that have this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Paul McCartney
love that
likes.
Rocky Raccoon song.
Yeah. I could see Paul doing a great rendition of this, honestly. I don't think he would because of just the content or whatever. Well, I mean, he might. I don't know.
Very sexist.
I mean, it's the
male
point,
chauvinist.
though.
Well, yeah, it is the
Male chauvinist, you are absolutely right.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just this song is.
I think he probably would. I'm sure he liked.
I wonder if he might have already done this. Now that we're talking about it, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? He's been playing continuously for so long, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if he had done this live at one point. But yeah, it's a really great way to end the album. It's really fun and jaunty, and it's got this weird, this fun, like, kind of feminist message at the end, because it's like it's making a farce out of the kind of guy that, basically just wants a woman to take care of him, and thinks that he is owed that. And it is just, I love the way that they get to that line. What was it? After he just, tells her to just, make me some bacon and beans, change the tire, wash my socks, sew my jeans, fill my pipe, fetch my slippers.
Every line.
And then after you put a log on the fire, babe, come tell me why you're leaving me. So it's just like,
come sit on Papa's lap and tell him why you're leaving him, baby.
yeah. Tell me why.
Let me talk you
What's
out.
wrong? What's wrong with this setup? Like,
I mean, you're making me my food.
You got it, yeah.
And then he
filling my pie.
He lists all the reasons why I let you wash the car on Sunday, and I
totally let you do that.
Yeah,
I warn you when you're getting.
Why are you complaining?
Yeah.
Aren't I gonna take you fishing with me someday?
Yeah. And a man can't love a woman more than that.
Just not this week. I can't this week. Paul's going with me this week.
Yeah. So it's like just a comically, like, not in touch with himself, a chauvinist dude that
all of these things that the first, like, all of these things in the songs on the first part of the album, it didn't talk about, but, like,
that's true. Yeah.
Would represent all of those guys that would be, in that, they would be in that role.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, because the guys aren't really. I mean, there are the kind of emotional songs discussing the loneliness, but
yeah,
it doesn't discuss the fact that it's just like, messed up for them to, like, use and leave and, promise these girls, these, town girls stuff. And then like this is like the other side of the grown-up
version of, like, the modern version of what a cowboy, has become.
Yes. Yeah. What they would think of themselves as. Yeah.
They're not. It's not. There's not. I mean, there are. I'm sure, to an extent, there's a version of a cowboy. Like a person.
There are still cowboys out there, and I mean, if I'm to believe,
the cowboys still exist.
They
just usually exist in the rodeos,
and they really care about those calves. They want to have free, pain-free caths, and they want it all day, every day. Catheters is what I'm talking about, people. That is the most context I have for cowboys in the modern era, is the commercials of what appears to be cowboys talking about catheters.
Are we talking about the cowboy killers here?
No, catheters. Do you know what a catheter is, John?
Oh.
John should know.
It's so the Cowboys can be out doing their cowboy thing.
I get your reference. I work in an old.
Yes, yeah. So that they don't have to take like a stop and like, stop what they're doing in the middle of their cowboying,
Yeah. Just go.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the way that this ends the album, though. It is such a nice,
tie on the
positive, like fun, like.
It was like you get the whole relationship, and then at the end, why are you leaving, baby? I we married. I settled down. You're making me my bacon and my beans. You're putting another log on the fire for me. What's the problem?
Yeah, it's like deceptively like positive. The music, But that's Shel Silverstein too. Is like he's always trying to make a point with all this weird, like funny, like ironic stuff that he's thinking of.
But it's also another way to get Tompall, like Waylon Jennings wanted him on this album.
Yeah,
and he got to do an old, like one of the oldest standards of country music, and then he gets to do this fun like song that could be included in a not really a children's book or a children's poetry book.
No.
But a fun just a really fun song.
Like Shel Silverstein is like clearly like has an understanding of musical composition and how the words are going to flow with the music, because this doesn't seem tacky ever. Like you never notice, like you listed all those songs and you really don't notice when it's a Shel Silverstein like lyrics. You just think, hey, that was a really clever song they came up with this one time, So he does a really good job of I don't know, like did he, we'll have to get into it at a different time probably, but like, do you know, did Shel Silverstein play music? Or was it always just him writing for other people?
I have no idea.
So...
Because he wrote for so many musicians, so it's like, seems like the natural next step would be to record your own thing.
Yeah, so he started off in Chicago, and he was expelled from the University of Illinois.
Okay.
He served in Japan and Korea.
Drafted
into the army. He liked the cartoons. Was definitely his start, and then in the his musical output included a large catalog of songs. A number of them were hits for other artists, most notably Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. That's ended up being in 1962 was the song "The Unicorn."
Oh wow! So he was doing music like way early then. Okay.
Yeah, somewhat
interesting. Yeah, before the like kind of modern music era.
Right.
Oh, he wrote the song 25 Minutes to Go. That's a good song too.
Wow.
It is. That was on that Folsom Prison album.
Well, we're going to have to do a Shel Silverstein episode at some point. So look forward to that whenever that is. I was going to say, I'm looking at the clock and we should probably get wrapping this up.
This is
a really great album. Thank you for the suggestion, Jake. Before we get out of here, we're going to go around the horn and find out what people are listening to and plug in. And John, you told me you had a plug today, didn't you?
I actually have a plug today.
Yeah.
So an old associate and a very good friend of mine is doing he has a podcast, and it's on like Anchor, it's on Spotify and all those good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's called Talking Highly. And it's just some fellows sitting around talking about life stuff. The episode I listened to was like talking about like each one of them went around the horn and talked about like music they listened to growing up. They're talking about artists,
cool.
stuff like that, associated with that, stuff very nice.
Okay.
Give them a little, and otherwise I've been listening to some Meatloaf actually lately.
Okay.
With that Bad Out of Hell stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna say you texted me.
That's
the other
right
day.
on that's moving up on my list fast. That's I forgot that is really a rock opera, and it's Meatloaf doing all the vocals, and there's a guy that did all the writing for it. I can't remember his name right now, but he's got a whole thing. Oh,
nice.
Very excited to dive into that.
Man, I wish that we could do more than one of these in a week sometimes, because there's just so many of them.
But it is, well, especially, I would suggest it, but you're doing side B now, so that's too much.
We're gonna do an album every day, people.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that.
Don't try.
No, we're not.
No, once a week is plenty.
It's good. This will keep us going for forever, though, because
doing a radio show every day is exhausting. When I did that,
I bet, man. I bet.
It was a full-time job without getting paid for.
Yeah, that's a real downside to radio for the most part, from what I understand. Just most creative endeavors in general, not very well paying.
But you love it.
Yeah. Unless you're like the 5% that goes viral or is super famous from what you do. It's it's hard knock life, guys. What about you? Yeah. Anything you're listening to, John? Besides that? No, you said Meatloaf.
Yeah,
Sorry, you said everything.
Yeah, just my usual
Jake,
stuff.
what about you?
Jake?
Besides this one that I like, since I picked it, I was like, I'm gonna do all of the research that listen to this album over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So outside of that, kind of the way that I've thought about this album, like you get into a little bit and you want more of the Outlaw stuff. So today, that Outlaw bit, has just gone out of hand. That song, Lonesome Ornery and Memes, another one by Waylon Jennings that I've kind of got into a little bit too. So
nice. Some ancillary music to this album. Yeah.
To accompany this, that hopefully that's what this album did for those artists in the end. And I mean, I think it did, because it did expose. I mean, it became a platinum album, so it sold a bunch.
Yeah. First platinum album, so for country.
Yeah.
And if you want to listen to Jake's show Under the Covers, we'll have a link in the description.
Always Under the Covers.
Yeah.
Under the Covers, 6 to 8 a.m. Wednesday mornings.
Yep.
Last week when we talked about when it would air in California, and we made that the entirely opposite. We said it would be like drive time. It airs at 4 to 6 in the morning there. So
it's a drive time for a different set of people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia, maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, that's when the people that really want to beat the traffic get up, I think.
Yeah, 7 to 9. Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Or going home,
Or going home after a long night of work.
Yeah. 7 to 9 in the morning on the East Coast.
Okay.
Or WISY 92.5 is a radio station right out of Mazomanie.
Mm-hmm.
The Mazomanie Music Conservancy is a really cool thing in the area too, that is supporting local music, and they do a music thing on every Friday.
Nice.
Or every first Friday of the month when there's not a pandemic. So it doesn't happen in the year. But,
different. Everything's different for now.
Yeah. But all that's ran through that, and that my show airs Sundays from 1 to 3 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
92.5 FM or WISY925.net.
Yes.
What I got.
And the link will be in the description. As for me, I have been listening to the Album Concept Hour Desert Island Discord playlist, I have exclusively been listening to and will exclusively listen to until we get at least 50 people in our Discord. So that's all I'm going to plug for music until I get more followers. Other than that,
Brent Coppernall is he joined the Discord.
Oh, okay.
And,
do you know him?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine.
Oh,
so
cool,
I got him
cool.
To listen. He's like a really good musician too. So,
Excellent.
He was listening to the part 2 of The Wall, I think, and he said he really liked that I had mentioned something about the Nashville like tuning style. So,
cool.
And so appreciate.
The
ability to discuss things on the Discord is really cool.
Yeah, we've really been enjoying like everyone's like suggestions. Like I found some really cool music from you guys, and seriously do enjoy the playlist. It's kind of it's all over the place, but it really represents everyone as a whole there. So. If you want to talk about some, cool music, go to the Discord in the description and tell us your Desert Island 5 and we will add it to our Desert Island playlist. Also, check out Pick Apart the Passion. We've got a lot of new people coming on, a lot of hip hop artists coming on week after week, some actors. We're trying to get chefs at some point. But the last episode that came out was with Illogic, so go on over to the YouTube, or you can go to Anchor FM or anchor.fm/Pick Apart the Passion and just get the audio version of that. And other than that, patreon.com/flyoverstatepark. Please go there if you like what I'm doing and you want me to be able to continue to do these kinds of things. Otherwise I won't always have this amount of free time.
Brad, how much content are you pumping out a week?
At this point, like 3 podcast episodes a week if I'm doing
like
it
hours
right.
Wise.
Hours wise.
Like
that's
actual content, and then you could even go into like the amount of production
now
time
that
it takes.
That's it. I don't know. I don't know.
Be at least at like 30-40 hours.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's many hours that have been put into this. It's a passion project and I'm glad to do it, but I would love to continue doing it and make a career out of it.
Your support.
So patreon.com/
that's the thing.
Flyover Park, and I promise you I will keep on doing it. So that's all I got to plug though. Thank you guys for listening. As always, we really, really appreciate you guys from tuning in and
maybe watching.
Yes, and you might be watching in the future behind the paywall.
Behind the paywall.
Yeah. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will catch you next time on the Album Concept Hour. Thanks for listening. The Album Concept Hour is Brad LeBaron, Dave Gallagher, John Aker, and Scott Wesley. Special thanks to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard for the theme music. Please like us on Facebook or friend us on Twitter or MySpace and let us know what concept album you would like to hear on the podcast. See you on Side B. This is Flyover State Park. You are clear to land.